Good morning. October the 15th, I believe, on a Friday, 6 o'clock in the morning. We're at a cool 63 degrees. Seasons are coming in. Weather's starting to change. It's a beautiful time of year. I always said that some of my best memories as a child, which wasn't many, and if I had good memories of as a child, it was just me or my dog. I had a dog. I always had a dog growing up. That was always my best friend. But anyway, this time of year, a lot of my good memories, hiking through the woods, just going out and about, being on my own. I remember I would stay out all night. Of course, my parents, they didn't care. They didn't really keep up much with me anyway, so I did my own thing. But I would go out and about and go in the woods. We always lived out in the woods, out in the country, middle of nowhere. And I would go out at night and make a fire, hang out by the fire, and it didn't matter how cold it was. I stayed out in it, and made a fire and would sleep outside. Good times, but this time of year it was always good because it's not so hot, it's not so cold. You can do things outside and it'd be a little bit more comfortable than if it's scorching hot outside or even freezing cold. Of course, if it was freezing cold, I was outside in it also. So, but yeah, I like this time of year. Halloween's coming up. God, I can't keep up with the days anymore, or the months or the years. None of this stuff even means anything to me anymore. It's just there's no purpose for it. If you live in the moment. You live for the day. You don't make plans. You don't worry about what happened yesterday. None of that stuff matters. It's you having to put your mind on something that doesn't exist yet, or it doesn't exist anymore, and it just doesn't make any sense to me. So, yeah, this time of year is great. I love it. I was going to speak about this Kundalini. I guess Kundalini is what they call it. I remember when I went through this spiritual journey that I went on when I first started, and that name has come up during the awakening. When I went through my spiritual awakening, something pretty drastic and dramatic and dark happened to me to cause me to go through that, and which is most cases for most people. That's the case. Some people just get tired of the way they're living. I guess you don't necessarily have to have any drastic or dramatic thing. Some people could just get tired of just the way they're living, and then they seek for something else. But I had something pretty drastic happen to me. I've gone through this. I've mentioned this before. It was a twin flame thing, separation. But yeah, so I went through that. Everything that I went through, I taught myself. I learned everything that I learned was through myself. I didn't turn to anybody. I didn't really even know who to turn to when I started going through this spiritual awakening and dark night. But all these things that I experienced was on my own. It's really funny. I've mentioned this before, but I'm seeing a color as we're speaking. It looked like turquoise. It was on the road in front of us. Of course, you're not going to see it on the camera, but I saw it in my view. A big spot of turquoise. I see that color often, by the way. But everything that was sent was I was going through was really strange. Was being sent to my phone. I remember during my twin flame separation, I was going through some rough times, and I had this thing pop up on my phone, and it said something about emergency, 911 or something, and I happened to open it up, and it had to do with the twin flames, and it was like my phone read my thoughts, because it was the weirdest thing, one of the strangest things that I experienced. It was like my phone read my thoughts, and crazy. But as I was going through it, Kundalini came up on some of the things that was popping up on my phone. Kundalini. I'm not sure how it's said. It could be said either way, I guess, depending on who's saying it. But I had went through awakening. I went through all the opening of the chakras. Started seeing all the colors, auras. I guess our chakras and our auras are the same things, depending on what chakra we are connected to. It'll put off a color, and that's our aura. So if we're connected to the solar plexus chakra, it'll put off a yellow color. It'll make us look yellow. We can even have a mixture. What if we're connected to, let's say, the root or the sacral? It'll put off, or the sacral. I've seen people that put off like a orange color, like a peach color. Not necessarily orange color, but it could be a mixture between the orange and the yellow, the sacral and the solar plexus. So once I started connecting to my chakras, these colors started opening up. I started seeing these colors. And supposedly Kundalini has to do with twin flame separation, with that name. Twin flames come up with the Kundalini. I had made some videos a while back about energy upgrades and DNA upgrades that I felt that I was going through, and I'm not denying that's what I was going through. But I had a video sent to me by a friend of mine, because I had mentioned to her about the Kundalini, and she is a energy healer. I don't think she's a Reiki master. She has not claimed to be a Reiki master, but she did claim to be an energy healer. She does energy healings for people. But of all the classes that she's gone to, and teachings and seminars, nobody's really mentioned the Kundalini. And she even asked a few people about it, and of course, it was almost kind of like it was shy to. They were avoiding it. Maybe they had a bad experience with it. I'm not sure. Nobody was really opening up about it. And then she heard me mention it, and she sent me this video about Kundalini awakening. And I watched it, and a lot of the things that this woman on this video was describing, I had already described in one of my videos about energy upgrades and DNA upgrades. That's what I thought I was going through, and still I'm not denying that. Makes me wonder, spiritual awakening, energy upgrades, DNA upgrades, Kundalini, all these things are affiliated with each other. They tie into each other. They just give off different types of interpretations, I guess. Maybe each one of them puts off a different pizzazz, an extra to the equation. Yeah, so I experienced. When you go through the when your flesh starts to die off, and you start opening up your soul and your spirit, from the very beginning of your spiritual awakening, you go through these symptoms body aches, muscle spasms. I'm going through one right now. Matter of fact, I'm going through a Kundalini, and you can go through several Kundalinis over a period of time. I believe that if you was to go through a full-fledged Kundalini at one time, it would probably kill you. So it's like you get a piece of it at a time, and as you're going through it, it's increasing your energy and your DNA. All that's starting to adjust with it. So what I think is, what I believe and feel is, it starts with the spiritual awakening. You go through your dark night, and once you start going through the dark night, it triggers the Kundalini, the energy upgrades, and the DNA upgrades. Some people can think that they're sick. If you feel like you're going through these things, and maybe you don't think you are, but if you're having some weird things happening to you, don't be afraid to go to the doctor. But I don't believe in going to the emergency room. If you have a family doctor, physician, I would suggest that you go to them, one personal person that you know. Emergency room, they're not as family oriented as your family doctor would be. It's kind of like going to your favorite restaurant, and they're going to take a little bit more care of you versus somebody. It's really strange this morning. For some reason, I'm seeing things differently this morning. It's really weird. It's like I almost feel like I'm in a video game, the way things are looking to me this morning. Really strange. I've been having some really good, my meditations are getting a little more intense. My astro projecting is getting a little bit more intense when I meditate. I'm connecting better through meditation, seeing things clearer. My gifts are starting to become a little bit more obvious, a little more clear. Before, it might have been a little bit of a haze involved. Not much, but it seems like every time I go through these Kundalinis and energy and DNA upgrades, that a little more haze is being taken away. I'm seeing things more clearly as far as the spirit goes, the beauty of everything, and the awe of everything, the amazement of everything, versus the ugly of the world, which there's a lot of ugly in the world. But if you're going through, so my brain is all over the place. I get off subject, I apologize. But if you feel like you're going through these symptoms and you're not really sure, don't be afraid to go see your doctor. And more than likely, you're going to be fine. You're going to be healthy. I've noticed since going through this awakening and these energy and DNA upgrades, my health has been incredibly good. I've been eating healthier, drinking a lot of water. I'm a lot more conscious of what I put into my body. The soap that I use, the toothpaste that I use, deodorant, everything that I put on my body and in my body and in my system, I'm a lot more conscious. It's funny because I was using this soap, and it was a $5 soap, not a bad soap at all. And I remember using it, and it felt like it was burning my skin. It felt like my skin was on fire every time I used it. It was very obvious. It wasn't like I was scratching my head trying to figure out what's going on here. I knew that the chemicals that were in that soap was burning my skin. It's really weird. And I'm a tough guy. I mean, I've been through a lot in my time, and a lot of punishment and a lot of pain. And I can take a lot. I can take an awful lot of pain. But this was very discomfort. I mean, I wouldn't call it pain, but it was very uncomfortable. It wasn't very comfortable at all. It was so obvious. And then I changed my soap. I used I started switching to an organic type soap, goat's milk, I believe is what it's made with, and olive oil and coconut oil. I'm not sure, but even the deodorant I'm using non-fluoride toothpaste. And if you're going through a spiritual journey, that fluoride is poison. It's not good for you. It only dampers your pineal gland. It causes it not to open, or if it does, it takes a lot more effort for it to open. The soul is always going to overpower the flesh. It always will. If you're going through a spiritual journey, or if you're curious of why you're always tired all the time, at the end of the day you just wore out, it's because your soul is trying so hard to overcome its flesh, because that's what you are. You are a soul and a spirit. You're not a flesh. And your soul every day is trying to fight hard to overcome that flesh, and it will cause you to be tired and exhausted. And you need to allow it to open up if you're going through this journey, and things will start to become easier. That's the one thing I've noticed about this. I am seeing some crazy things. I know it's not on this camera, but I'm seeing some transparent, it almost looks like spirits crossing the road and on the side of the road. I'm having to look twice to see what I'm seeing. It's really strange. I've been noticing this a lot lately too. When I go through these awakenings and energy upgrades and all that, and DNA upgrades, I see a lot of apparitions out the corner of my eye. I'm always constantly looking to the side to see who's walking by me, and of course there's nobody there. I just lost my train of thought. I apologize. My brain, I get distracted. So, just be conscious of what you're putting into your body, because that can determine a lot of things. Could determine your health, your walk with your spirit, and your spiritual journey. All that. Be conscious of everything, what you're listening to, your TV shows, your radio stations, the music you play. And, there's nothing wrong with listening to the radio and listening to music and watching TV. Just don't allow it to control you. Don't let it affect you. Because it can, and if you allow it. In today's society, people are very easily influenced and very easily programmed. So just be conscious of what you're putting into your system, and what your eyes are looking at and your ears are listening to. Everything, should be of the spirit and not of the flesh. The more spirit you put into things, the easier things will become. Everything you're consuming, make sure that it's of the spirit. Whatever practices you're doing, rituals, meditation, make sure it's through love and positivity. Because whatever you're putting into your system, you're projecting out, you will get in return. So I hope this video helped some people. I love everybody, and I hope you succeed. I am not hard to get a hold of. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy. I've been on this journey for quite some time, and I've experienced some pretty crazy things since I've been on this journey. Some pretty unbelievable things, and things I can't. I even scratch my head on, even though I see it and I know it's real. I'm like, wow. I'm just kind of blown away by the whole thing. Things that are not even of this world. It's amazing to me. So if you got any questions, I'm not hard to get a hold of. I help quite a bit of people. I have a lot of people that turn to me for help and questions. and I help a lot of. I have a lot of gifted people that come to me, and it doesn't matter what you're in, when it comes to the spirit or the spiritual world. Reiki masters, psychics. I've had all these people come to me, and it's okay. You know what I'm saying? You don't. It doesn't have to mean anything. Even the most gifted people could turn to people. It doesn't mean any less of you. It doesn't think that you're any more powerful or less gifted. Because even the teachers need teachers. And I'm not saying I'm better than anybody, because I have people that come that help me as well. So please, I don't judge, I don't criticize, I don't look bad against anybody, I don't look down on anybody. I love everybody, and I believe in treating everybody the same. Hope everybody has a good day. Godspeed, and I love you all.